So, welcome back. We will just be using our regular old props today. So, I always like to have a blanket or two, maybe pillows if you're at home. We will use the yoga strap. And as always, if you don't have a strap, you can always use a belt or a long scarf. If you have a resistance band, you can use that in place of a strap as well. And then a couple of blocks or anything you've got around the house that can stand in for blocks, like sturdy books or shoe boxes. And we'll start on our back today. So, if you've got a strap or something like it, then just have it within arm's reach. And anything else you need to be comfortable, like if you like a blanket to act as a pillow, you can have that in place as well. And just come on down to laying on your back when you're ready. So once you've made your way onto your back, just take a moment to feel the back of your body on the ground, making note of which parts of you are in contact with the ground. Maybe just noticing where the weight of your body tends to sit on the back of your rib cage, the back of your pelvis, the back of your head. And then just draw your attention inwards and take a few moments to check in with yourself, simply noticing how you feel in your body today. And now bring the same observing attention to your breath and find out when you pay attention to breath, notice how it feels. And now get a little more curious and notice where you feel your breath in your body. It could be that you notice your breath at your nostrils, or it could be that you feel it more in your rib cage at your chest. Or you might feel that you sense it more at your belly. It might be like a whole body sensation. There's no right answer. Just see what's true for you right now. And get a sense for whether you feel the movement of your breath more on the front of your body or the back of your body. And for most of us, it's probably the front of the body that seems the most obvious. So if you find that, then take a few moments to pay attention to the back of your body. See if you can feel a sense of expansion through your rib cage down into the ground or anything else you notice on the back of your body. And then let that focus go. And let's start into some movement. So we'll start out with some snow angel arms. So just bring your arms out into a T position by your sides. And if you've got any props around the head of your mat, then you might want to set them off to the side. And all we're going to do here is turn the palms to face up and then trace your hands up, starting out along the ground, maybe lifting your hands away from the ground whenever that's more comfortable. And then bringing them back down by your sides. And keep tracing your snow angel shape along the ground, up overhead. And you might notice as you move if your rib cage wants to shift with this movement. And if you find that, if you're arching your back or shifting around in any way, see if you can change your arm movement so that your rib cage can stay nice and anchored to the ground. And then we'll let that go when you're ready. Just let your arms rest. And now bring all four limbs up towards the ceiling and just give them a nice shake out. Awesome. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a little hug. Have a bit of a rock from side to side. And then come back to center and keep your right knee in towards your chest, holding on with your hands and stretch the other leg straight. Nice. Maybe flex that other foot. And then bring your left knee back in and stretch the right leg long. And then come back in, both knees hugging in towards your chest. And from here, let's do some hip circles. Bring your big toes to touch. Place your hands on your knees. And then move your knees away from each other out to the sides and circle them around and back in. And we'll stick with this movement for a few times. And then do that movement in the opposite direction. And then let it go. Bring your feet back down. Take a moment to move or stretch any way you'd like. Okay. And now grab your strap or whatever you've got that's acting as a yoga strap today. And now we'll bring just the right knee in towards your chest and wrap your strap around your foot and straighten your leg up towards the ceiling as much as it comfortably wants to go. Nice. And holding the strap with both hands, just let your shoulders and your elbows settle down towards the ground as much as you can. And from here, just flex your foot, trying to draw your toes down towards you. See if you can soften your knee a little bit, even as you flex your foot. And then add the action of reaching up and out through your heel, trying to press it up towards the ceiling a little bit more. And now soften that. Maybe give your leg a little bit of a shake. And bring both sides of the strap over to your right hand, same hand as leg. And let's do some rotations on this leg. So just rotating the whole leg out to the side and in to the center, just moving at the hip joint. So the movement's starting at your hip, but your whole leg is just following along. And if you notice your pelvis shifting around at all when you do this movement, can you make the movement in your legs smaller so that your pelvis can stay nice and steady, anchored to the ground? And the next time you go into external rotation with your toes pointing out, we'll pause there. And then you could stay right here, or you can move your leg out to the side like this and take a few breaths right here, using your strap for support. And slowly come on back up and just bend your knee and take the strap away to the side. Nice. Once you've got that, just move around any way you'd like. Maybe your legs would like a little bit of a wiggly movement. Maybe you want to stretch them. And make your way back to stillness. Take a moment here, just breathe, pausing. And let's do all of that on the other side. And once you've got the strap around the other foot, same thing here, just flex your foot. Have a little bit of softness in this knee. And as you pull your toes down, can you reach your heel up a little bit? See if that gives you a bit of stretch on the back line of your leg. And breathe easy here. When you're ready, let's go on to our rotations on this side. So with your strap in the same hand as leg, bring your attention to your hip joint again and start your rotations here. Same thing. Can you rotate just enough that your pelvis doesn't need to move? So just a movement at the hip, not any shifting around in your torso, as best as you can. Pausing in external rotation once again. Either stay right here, just remaining in this externally rotated position, or you can bring your leg out to the side, using your strap for support. Maybe you can have your elbow on the ground here in the arm that is holding the strap, and just breathe. Your torso is still nice and anchored to the ground. So if you find that one side is lifting up, can you move your legs so that you could keep that sense of connection to the ground? And bring your leg back in when you're ready. Let's set the strap off to the side again. Have a bit of movement again. Just see what your body would like now. And again, come back to stillness. Take this opportunity to pause. And gather your knees up towards your chest again. Have a little hug and a little rock side to side. And then come on back to center. And again, keep your right knee in towards your chest. Stretch the left leg long. Nice. As you hold onto your knee, check in with your shoulder blades. If your left shoulder blade is lifting off the ground when you hold onto your leg, then grab that strap and wrap it around your leg so that you can hold your leg with the left hand so that your shoulder blade can be on the ground. So, with or without the strap, we want to be holding our knee with the opposite hand. And now we're going to go into our twist. So, bring your right knee over to the left, only as far as you can, while keeping your shoulder blades anchored to the ground. And let's breathe here. Slowly come on back to center when you're ready. And just stretch your right leg long. Maybe you want to have a full body stretch here between sides. And let's do our twist on the other side. So left knee coming in this time. Check it out. When you hold your left knee with your right hand, can your right shoulder blade stay on the ground? Or would you like to grab your strap just to kind of make your arm a little bit longer? And let's come into our twist. Bring your left knee over to the right. See how far you can take it without your shoulder blades lifting off the ground. And once you've found your twist, just take a few breaths here. And softly let this one go when you're ready. Have a bit of movement again, just see what your body would like. Nice. And then bend your knees if they're not already bent and place your feet on the floor a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. Maybe step them a little farther away from your seat. And your arms can rest. We're just going to windshield wiper our knees from side to side. And then come on back to center. Nice. Okay. So now we're going to try out Happy Baby Pose. And this one is a pretty big stretch. So I'll use the strap to start off with this pose. So grab your strap. If you have a loop in it, make the loop as small as possible so you've got the full length of your strap. And then bring both knees in towards your chest and wrap your strap around the bottom of both of your feet and lift your legs up. Feet kind of pointing towards the ceiling. Nice. And then bring your feet a little wider apart. So they're wider than hip width distance apart. Nice. And from here, just bend your knees and see if you can pull your knees a little closer to your armpits. Doesn't matter how far you go with this, you probably get a good stretch here right away. If you can reach your feet, you're welcome to hold on to your feet, but stick with the strap if that feels more comfortable for you. Nice. And then once you're here, you can just stay right here, or you can do a little bit of a rock from side to side. I love that this one's called Happy Baby because I remember when my son could do this. He even stuck his toe in his mouth. Kind of crazy that they can be so flexible. And then come on back to center and let's let this one go. Nice. Have a bit of movement. I always like doing some hip circles after this one. So if you like that movement, you can come back to it. Nice. Okay, come on back down to a comfortable position. Take a moment to pause. Maybe just checking in again. Notice how you feel. How do you feel in your hips and your legs and your back? All right. And now bend your knees again and have your feet on the floor, this time about hip width distance apart, and step them a little closer in towards your seat. We're going to go into a bridge pose. So you want to have your feet in a position that feels steady to lift your hips up. And your arms can be on the ground, just resting by your sides like this. And take a moment to just feel all the parts of you that are in contact with the ground again. Back of your head, shoulder blades and upper back of the pelvis and your feet, your arms as well. And now pressing down through your feet, lift your hips up, keeping your shoulder blades on the ground, but your mid back can lift off the ground, maybe. And then come all the way back down. And we're just going to lift and lower a few times. As you come back up, you can add a bit of engagement here if you like. Pressing your feet down, maybe pulling your heels up towards your head, setting yourself back down when you're ready. Next time you come back up, maybe you want to add that action of your feet and also try to press your knees in towards each other and come back down. And just try it out a few more times. Go at your own pace. And the next time you come back down, let's stay here. Maybe you'd like to windshield wiper your knees side to side a few more times after your bridge pose. Okay, come on back to a more neutral position. Take a moment to pause. And before we come up to an upright position, let's do a few more of those snow angel arms. So when you're ready with palms facing up, just start to glide your hands along the floor to come up overhead and then down by your sides. And the next time you bring your arms back down, we'll just let them rest. Okay, and from here, bring your knees in once again, have a little hug, and then make your way all the way over to laying on your side. And then nice and gently lift yourself up to a seat. And just take a moment once you've made your way to a seated position to pause, let everything settle. And now let's move into a tabletop position on hands and knees. So, as we do this, let's get some props ready as well. If you've got blocks, you can have them up at the top of your mat. If you find that you like any knee padding, You can get that in place. And when you're ready, let's start with a few rounds of cat and cow. Tuning into your breath. As you inhale, arch your back, lift your tailbone, open your chest. As you exhale, round through your back, tipping your tailbone down, curling in, and just keep moving. Go with your breath. You can go a bit slower, just see what feels natural for you today. And then come on back to a more neutral position in your spine. And let's do a little bit of a side bend here. So just look over your shoulder, doesn't matter which side, and try to pull that side of your hip up towards your shoulder and then back to center. And let's do that on the other side. Look over your shoulder, pull hip up towards shoulder and back to center. Let's go side to side a few times. See if you can move in a way that gives you a bit of stretch on the side that it's opening up a bit. And then find your neutral once again. Let's sit back for a child's pose here. Just sit your hips back, reach your arms forward. See if you can find a place where your forehead can rest. So if it doesn't touch the ground on its own, you can place your block under your forehead or your hands. Let's take a few breaths wherever you are here. And come on back up when you're ready. Let's come all the way up to a kneeling position. Nice. And from here, we're going to sit back on our heels, and you can either just have your feet as they are, or if you want a bit of stretch for the bottom of your feet, you can tuck your toes under and sit back on your heels like this. This will give you a nice stretch here. So, in whichever position you're in, let's just do some tiny twists here. So, bringing your awareness to your rib cage, lengthen through your spine a touch, and just move your ribs side to side. Moving so that your lower body can stay nice and steady, so it doesn't have to come along with this movement. Feel free to rearrange your feet whenever you need to if you want to untuck your toes. And then come on back to center and come right back to your tabletop. Nice. Okay. And anytime we're in this position with hands on the floor like this, you're always welcome if your wrists are feeling unhappy to be down on your forearms or have your hands in a fist shape. Or even if you've got blocks, you can have your forearms on the blocks so you're a little more upright. It's up to you. That's always an option you have. And let's give our legs a little bit of stretch here. So we'll start with the left leg. Just straighten it back behind you. Tuck your toes under. And once you've got this shape, just reach back through that leg as if you're trying to press your heel back towards the wall behind you. And now soften that work and slide your leg around to the side so that you can place the bottom of your foot on the ground, the whole foot, even the outer edge of your foot. And once you've got this shape, try to be in a place where your knee can be straight. So if you need to rearrange a bit, you can do that. Once you've got that, just press your foot down into the ground. And at the same time, try to pull up from your ankle up to your hip. Nice. And then bring your leg all the way forward, coming into a low lunge shape. Lovely. From here, set yourself up so that your knee is over top of your ankle on the front leg, and your back knee is a little bit behind your hips. So you're not stacked like this. You're leaning forward a little bit. Nice. Press your front foot and your back knee down a little bit, and at the same time, pull them towards each other. And then come on up, setting your hands on your hips. And then you can choose to keep your hands here, or you could take a different position with your arms. Stay here for 2 or 3 breaths. And try to keep your legs active here. So keep pressing down and pulling in at the same time. When you're ready, we'll let this go softly. Release your hands, bring them back down to your blocks or the ground. And we're going to do a little bit of a twist here. So keep your right hand on your block or the ground and bring your left hand up onto your hip. Nice. From here, can you picture lengthening through your spine as if you could reach from your belly button back to your tailbone and beyond, and from your belly button up to the top of your head and beyond? Nice. Keep that nice long spine. Move at the rib cage to find your twist, just opening your chest up towards your left knee. And you can stay here or you can lift the top arm up towards the ceiling a bit. Nice. Can you keep your legs active at the same time, still pulling in towards each other? And then bring it back down. Bring your hand back down to the block. Nice. Okay, so now we're going to do that twist in the other direction, which is a little bit different from what we typically do. So I'm just going to kind of turn the face towards you a little bit more. So this time, keep your left hand on the block, or you can have your hand on your arm on your leg like this. It's up to you. And then we're just going to bring the right hand up to touch the side of your rib cage. Nice. And from here, start with your ribs kind of facing down towards the ground. Add that length in your spine. And then from your ribs, find a little bit of a twist shape here, opening your chest up in the other direction. And then come back down. Let's try that a few more times. Just a little bit of a tiny twist, keeping your legs active as you go here. And then come on back to more neutral shape. Bring your hand back down. Lovely. All right, from here, we're going to head into a plank and come all the way down to the ground on our belly. So if you want to set your knee padding off to the side, you can do that. And then position yourself with your hands right on the ground and step that front leg back. You can find your plank pose with knees off the ground, knees on the ground. And of course, if you like to have your forearms down instead of your hands, you can do that as well. Let's take a breath in whatever version you've chosen. And then come all the way down, belly right down onto the ground. Take a moment, just breathe here. And as you breathe, can you picture breathing into the back of your body? Just like at the beginning of the class when we were face up and we could feel our back body expanding into the ground a bit. Can you sense that here? And keeping a bit of that awareness as we head into our Cobra Pose. Start by setting your hands up by the sides of your ribs, wherever they need to be so that your shoulders can feel fairly comfortable. So they don't need to be squeezed in right here. They can be a little out to the sides. And once you've got that, bring your attention to your pelvis. Have a little bit of a rock side to side. See if it feels like your pelvis is nice and anchored to the ground. So you're not tilting or tucking too much. You're fairly neutral in your pelvis. And then think of your pelvis as the foundation for this pose. So it's connected to the ground, but your head is lengthening forward. Your tailbone can reach down towards your heels. And from here, keep all that. Roll your shoulders up and back, and then lift your head and your chest just a little bit off the ground. Nice. Can you still feel your breath in the back of your body at all? And let's let this go. Come on all the way back down. Rest your head. Have a little bit of that rocking motion in your pelvis. And then take a moment here to just pause. Okay, and we're going to do that again. And you can do it exactly how we just did it, or we can add one more little piece. So let's get ourselves set up in the same way. Hands on the ground by your sides, pelvis connected to the ground, head lengthening away from your pelvis, tailbone reaching down towards your heels. Nice. Keep all that nice work. Roll your shoulders up and back. Slowly peel your head and your chest up away from the ground. Nice. Don't go up too high. Stay where you feel fairly steady. The muscles on the back of your body can help you stay here. And you can either keep your hands just as they are, or you can come up onto your fingertips, or you can even try floating your hands away from the ground. Just see what feels like a good place to experiment today. And let it go. Come on back down. Rest your head. Rock your hips. And come on back to stillness again. Just take this moment to pause. And when you're ready, make your way back up. Find your tabletop again. Grab your knee padding again if you like having that. And from here, we're going to go into our child's pose again. Normally, for child's pose, we have our knees out to the side, like a little bit farther away from hip width distance apart. But if you like, for this one, you can have your knees a little closer together. And as you sit back, you might feel a little bit of stretch through your back as your spine rounds forward. And make your way back up when you're ready. Take a moment to move your spine any way you'd like. And then when you're ready, let's stretch the right leg back, coming into our hamstring stretch. So tuck your toes under. And once you've got this shape, again, just press back, reaching your heel back. When you're ready, bring your leg around to the side, making any little adjustments you need to have your whole foot on the ground and knee fairly straight. And then bring some engagement here. Press your foot down, drag up from foot up to hip. And then we'll let that one go and come into our low lunge. So bring your leg all the way forward. Find your low lunge shape. Nice. Bring that engagement to your legs, pressing down and pulling in at the same time. Feel the strength of your legs as you lift up. And take a moment here, breathing easy, maybe choosing a different arm position. And with softness, let your arms go. Place them back down. And this time, keep your left hand on the block or the ground. And bring your right hand up to your right hip. Nice. So let's head into our twist. So start by lengthening through your spine. Bring your focus to your rib cage and turn your ribs into the twist. You can reach the top arm up if you'd like. And a few breaths right here. Slowly coming back down to your low lunge. Nice. Let's do our tiny twist in the other direction. So, right hand staying down, left hand coming up to find the side of your rib cage. Ribs facing down to start with. Find that sense of length in your spine and begin to do your tiny twists, moving at your ribs to do so. And let it go. Come on back down. Find your low lunge shape again. And let's step back to tabletop. Once again, make your way back to a child's pose. And then come on back up to your tabletop when you're ready. Nice. Okay, and right back up to a kneeling position. And from here again, you have the options. Have your feet with toes untucked, or you can tuck them under. Lovely. Bring your hands to your hips. Nice. And from here, with your attention at your pelvis, think about tucking your tailbone under as if you're trying to point your tail towards your knees. Nice. Keep that lengthen through your spine. And now we're just going to lean back, thinking about having your whole body from your knees up to your head in a straight line. So reaching back. Maybe squeeze through your glutes as you lift back up. Now let's try that a few times. And then we'll let this one go. Come on back to your tabletop. Nice. Have a bit of movement. Anything you'd like. Okay. And we are going to switch it up and come back down to laying on our back. And we're going to stay on our back for the rest of the class, but we're going to do a few movements before we go into our resting pose. But get yourself set up so that you don't have to reach for any props once you're on your back. So if you'd like to have a blanket nearby, if you'd like to put on socks or sweaters, you can do that right now. And once you've made your way onto your back, bring your knees in towards your chest again. Let's do a few more of those hip circles. So big toes touching, hands resting lightly on your knees. Circle your knees around, moving away from each other, around and back in. And try not to let your hands move your knees. Try to allow your legs to do the work here, and your hands are just coming along. Yeah, do those circles a few times in the other direction. And then let it go. Bring your feet back down to the ground, but keep your knees bent. We'll finish off with a figure four stretch. So keep your left foot on the ground, reach your right leg up. And from here, add just a little bit of external rotation. Rotation coming from your hip joint again. And then bend your knee, cross your ankle over your knee. Lovely. Without using your hands, can you press your knee away from you a bit? Now you can choose. You can stay right here where you are, or you can lift the other foot off the ground and maybe hold on to that leg with your hands or with your strap. And you might like to keep adding that action of pressing your right knee away from you. See how that feels in your hips. And again, you can stay right where you are, or you can add one more piece, and that is to straighten the left leg a little bit. And maybe do a little bit of movement through your foot here. I like to point and flex my foot. You can see if that's interesting to you. And then let it all go. Slowly unravel your legs. Place both feet back down on the ground. Maybe you'd like to windshield wiper your knees a little bit side to side. And let's do that on the other side. So, straightening the other leg up towards the ceiling, adding some external rotation. Bend your knee, cross ankle over knee. Piece number one, just press your knee away from you. Stay there or add another piece, bringing the other leg up, holding on with hands and strap. And the last piece, if you want to try it, is to straighten this other leg. Maybe add a bit of movement at your foot. See how that feels? Wherever you are, let's take a few more breaths. Just sticking with this stretch, maybe a little bit of movement. And again, unravel. Let it go. Everything can come back to rest on the ground. And we're ready for our resting pose. So tune in, see what position your body would like to be in to rest for the next few minutes. It doesn't have to be laying on your back, you can pick whatever suits you. And while you get set up, I will go and turn the lights down here in the room. And when you found a comfortable position, take a moment to breathe, maybe inviting in a few deeper breaths. Noticing as you do, is there any little adjustment that you can make to be a little more comfortable? And then send yourself the message that you can soften And get ready to just rest for the next few minutes. So, on purpose, let go of any kind of effort. Notice if there's any areas of tension or holding on in your body. And see if you can send those areas the message to let go a little bit, allowing your body to be supported by the ground or whatever it is that you're resting on. And take the next few minutes to do nothing. Just be here.